there's a storm brewing. Feels powerful. I think this would be quite an auspicious time to consult the cards. Why, hello there. How are you, dear? Excellent. Would you maybe mind sitting for a tarot reading? I promise it'll be at no charge. It's just such a beautiful time to ask the spirits. And I think that we shouldn't squander this opportunity. That's okay with you. Excellent. Why don't you just take a seat, make yourself comfortable, right? So, I like to start with first just laying my hands on the cards and asking them if they're ready to give insight into a situation. If they're ready to tell us what path we should be on or what we should watch out for. I see. So the cards, they believe that it's not quite time. Feels like there's a bit of tension in the air. So I'd like to ask you to just get as comfortable as possible. I know I had asked you that before, but there's some rigidity in your posture. Why don't you just do this for me? If you could roll your shoulders back a bit and pull them down from close to your ears. So instead of hunching them upwards and forward, I want you to roll them back. You might feel the bones shift, the tendons accommodate the movement. I want you to roll your shoulders back. Sit tall, sit proud. There's something especially powerful about sitting tall. It's almost as if your body recognizes the authority in such a position. You almost feel just that much more powerful. Keep your shoulders rolled back, broaden the rib cage, open up the chest, right? Many of us spend our lives curled up, curled inwards, bracing for impact. I want you to open yourself up to it. Let your chest stretch out. Let your body open up, right? Just like that. Very good. Make sure that your head is sitting centered on your neck. You don't want to be craned forward. Instead, we want to be sitting straight, but not ramrod straight, just comfortably straight. Their head centered, shoulders rolled back, chest open. Alright? How does that feel? It can be a little odd to get used to if you spend your life curled and closed off. But it's very hard to receive new information when we're closed off to it. We need you to be a little open, a little vulnerable, right? Excellent. Now I think I have one other trick for us. I think that for a little cleansing scent, really bring the mood together for us, I have this rosewater and ivy candle. This has soft rose petals, English ivy, and lemon blossom. It's refreshing. It's cleansing. I'll let you have a smell before I light it, just to make sure it's not too strong or that it offends. There's just this little bit of texture on the label. Kisses the fingertips, just like that. Let's open it up. It's like fresh cut flowers. Green foliage after it rains. Lemon blossoms in a conservatory. Do you hear the little pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter? The raindrops on the metal, on the shingles. It's a very auspicious time. I'm going to hold this up to your nose. I want you to take a deep breath for me, darling. Right? Deep breath in. And out. Deep breath in. And out. Deep breath in and out. How is that? Yes, very refreshing. Wow. I am pleased that the scent is to your liking. I'm going to light this candle and just have it off to the side for us, just bringing a bit of warmth and a bit of presence to the space. Smells gorgeous. Just feel the gentle scent rolling through smoke coiling and playing through the air. Now, let's ask the cards if this is a more fortuitous time. Mm-hmm. I see. I think that we are in the clear. The name of the game is called the Celtic Cross. It consists of 10 cards laid out in a specific way, and this particular spread deals with either a specific situation, or it can be a more broad overlook on the current path you're on in your life. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shuffle the cards first, make sure they are adequately mixed up. I will hand the cards to you, and I will have you shuffle them a bit. Then I'll have you take the cards in hand and infuse some of your own energy into them. That way they know they are fully focusing on you and not me. Alright? Okay. Excellent. So, I'm going to hand these to you, and I want you to shuffle these as you please. Okay. Now, when I ask you to handle the cards, I'm going to have you speak to them, if you will. I'll have you tell the cards about what you're hoping to gain insight about. And you don't have to do this aloud. You can do it in your head. And that'll give the cards a bit of an easier time trying to determine what it needs to tell you. So, I'll take these. We're just going to put these in the palm of your hand like so. Okay, got them? Good. I'm going to have you lay your hand on top of the cards. I'm going to lay my hand on top of yours. Right? Now you can say something like, "Hi cards," or "Hello," whatever you'd like. them your name, what you're looking to gain insight about, and we'll go from there. You just let me know when you're finished. All right. Give you a moment. Beautiful, beautiful weather. All finished? Excellent. So, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. You ready? We'd just like to say beforehand that the cards are not going to, they're not going to spell things out for you. They're giving you clues, little hints, bits of guidance. They're not going to tell you you should do one thing or another, but rather they may hint that the path you're on is the one you're supposed to be on, or perhaps you may need to think a little bit about what you're doing, things of that nature, right? They're not mind readers and they're not miracle workers. Okay? They only guide. So we'll keep that in mind as we draw. This is beautiful. Our first card would be our Heart of the Matter card. And this is the 3 of Cups. A very good start. So, the 3 of Cups has 3 people here with cups in their hand in union and celebration. From how they are standing close to one another, they're intertwined, we can safely assume that they are well acquainted, perhaps friends, right? So the heart of the matter is what's important to you now. This is the card that will encapsulate your situation. So the 3 of Cups, this represents, as we said before, friendship, celebration, can also be for fun. So this card tells us that we should rejoice in our friendships, our relationships, that you have people that love and support you. It reminds us to celebrate our accomplishments, and it also can designate positive growth between people. So what this could mean is that this is something that you've been thinking about or working towards, or it's what's going on right now. Okay? So it reminds us to celebrate the relationships that we have, reminds us to foster those relationships and keep them alive. It reminds us that we have many people that love and support us. Now, for our opposing factor, we have the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups has a lion's head, wings, above two people. Look like they are exchanging cups. The opposing factor is the challenge you are faced with. So this card represents equality, love, respect, and harmony. So this might be that this is something you're working towards, or that this particular instance, it may be that you're having issues with this in your relationships. So this can be between any relationships. Could be your friendships, family, lovers, acquaintances, business partners. But overall, it represents equality and balance and compromise. So these things are what your challenge is centered on. Either that this is what you are working through, this is what's going on. In the root cause, we have the King of Cups. Lots of cups so far. So the King of Cups is an emotionally mature person. Very calm, very cool and collected. Often used as a mediator, as someone that counsels other people. He can also be creative and imaginative. He's able to funnel his emotions in towards those sort of artistic endeavors. Now the root cause is your foundation and motivation. So this can be someone you may encounter or a part of yourself that you wish to call on. So perhaps you are motivated to be this type of person, that you want to be emotionally collected, that you want to be able to funnel these sort of emotions into something productive. It may be that you need someone to come in and counsel you. You need someone to give you wisdom on how to achieve these results. Our known influence space. This is what you know to be true. This could be your beliefs or your aspirations for the situation. And here, another Cups card. We have the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups is a very happy card. This has a family here, underneath a blue sky and a brilliant rainbow. And when we're looking at the known influence, this could be that this is something that you are striving towards, that you wish this to be your situation. So this card can represent, again, a happy home, can represent peace, family, shared love. It may also be a warning that this fairy tale sort of ending may be something that you're hoping for a little too much, that you're putting too much stock into that sort of outcome. It may remind you that not everything is perfect, and sometimes when we're striving for perfection, we're not seeing the beautiful situations we have at hand. Because when we're thinking of a happy family free of conflict, free of problems, we don't realize that life has conflict, life has problems. Sometimes when we're looking for the ideal life, we don't realize that that's not exactly realistic. So, it's maybe a warning to look at your aspirations and make sure they're realistic and that you're not overlooking beautiful situations in favor of perfection. Ah, interesting. So for our past influences card, these are the experiences or lessons that may be affecting you now. We have the Hanged Man. Now the Hanged Man looks like perhaps a negative card, but all the cards have multiple meanings. There's no one correct meaning. The Hanged Man can represent surrender or sacrifice, but he can also represent new perspectives. So when we look at the past influences spot, this is telling us that perhaps in the past we've learned, or we need to remember that we've learned, that many things will happen as a result of patience, contemplation, and perhaps compromise as well. So this is a card that tells you to let go a little, try not to control every little thing. It also tells you that perhaps you need to gain new perspective and you may have to make peace with not having everything that you wanted. So it's interesting so far the way our story is being told. There's a lot of cards that are all culminating in looking at relationships, family, those sorts of things, and that perhaps we're striving for perfection in said relationships and looking for all give, no take. This is something that it's interesting when the cards all are painting a very cohesive storyline. The new circumstances, we have the Justice card. New circumstances is the spot that tells you that something is going to come to change the situation soon. Justice can literally mean justice, but it also is a card of fairness and balance and accountability. This card reminds us that everything that is meant to be will be. This is interesting that it plays off of our Hanged Man card that tells us that sometimes we need to sacrifice, we need to compromise, we need to gain new perspective and be patient. The Justice card also tells us to think logically and not make emotional decisions. This tells us to find our center, find our balance. For the Self place, we have the Strength card. We have this beautiful person adorned in flowers, petting her lion here. I would highly recommend not doing that, but this one seems to be enjoying it, or at least perhaps sampling her. But the Strength card in the Self place, this represents how you see yourself in the situation. So the Strength card can literally mean strength, or it means that you have inner strength. It also can mean instinct or courage. It may also mean survival. So this card tells us to pull upon the innate strength that we have and to balance with the wild sides of ourselves. The wild sides are often our emotions, our turmoil, and we can harness these and use them to benefit us instead of letting them rule us. So this card is telling us we can balance emotion and logic. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It also tells us that we need to face adversity with love and compassion. The surrounding environment, another major arcana card. This will represent the environment around you or other people's perspectives about you or your situation. So we have the Hermit. The Hermit is a wise man who seeks solitude. You can see here. So the Hermit can represent introspection, and wisdom, guidance, perspective. So this may tell us that other people looking at your situation may be thinking that this would be a good time to take some space or seek more wise or experienced counsel. Maybe something that they're thinking or feeling may be a little too much for you to face on your own, that perhaps it would be wise to seek the advice of someone else that has a little more experience in these matters. Now, on a modern day spin on that, I like to think of it as maybe time to seek some sort of counsel or therapy, but I'm one of those that believes everyone can use therapy. It's very, very useful for ourselves and our situations. Now for the guidance card, this is literally what guides you. We have the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands we have a man with the world in his hand, the wands before him, overlooking the ocean. This is a card of choice. This is a card of contemplation, of potential. So this is a card that reminds us to look back on where you came from and figure out where you want to go. This is a card that tells you that you can create your own destiny. Now, I see many similarities in a lot of these cards, but this one doubling off of the Hermit, where both of them are telling you that seeking contemplation, seeking new perspective, in addition with the Hanged Man, when we have those overlaying meanings, that's the cards telling us to really focus on those messages, that this is a time to think logically, to contemplate what we want to do next, seek help from other people. For our last card, I see. So this is the Five of Swords. And the outcome can represent you, your situation, or the lesson you learn from it. Now, when we're looking at the Five of Swords here, this is a card that I like to think of as a lesson in this spot. So, the Five of Swords can represent defeat or self-defeat. It can represent arguments or feeling attacked. This is a card that asks, is what you're fighting for worth it? It's a card that tells you that winning is not the most important thing. It's a card that tells us that you may be repeating patterns that you know are dysfunctional. So this may be that these are the lessons that you end up learning from all of this. So perhaps, I'm just spitballing here, but we're focusing on relationships, on wanting them to be perfect, and perhaps they're not for one reason or another. But we hang on to these so hard. We're not thinking about whether it would be better to move on or whether it would be better to think about them differently, perhaps. And in doing so, we may see that it doesn't quite go well in that way. So the cards are telling you to really think about this. Think about if staying in this position is worth it. Telling us to really, really dive deep and ask ourselves if this is something we want to do. Even though this grand vision that we have may not be what we get in the end. That's just one interpretation. There are quite a few different interpretations. We have multiple repeated associations in these cards. So, looks like we definitely have the multiple cups cards, and the cups represent emotions and relationships being significant to the situation, which is interesting because that seems to be the main theme of our reading. The other thing is we have the number 2 that happens a few different times here. Looks like we have 3 cards that is significant, and this represents balance and choice. Now, there are 3 cards that we have the ocean in, and this is a symbol of our subconscious mind, and again, our emotions. So, emotions, relationships, contemplation, seeking counsel, those are some of the main lessons that we're seeing from our Celtic Cross reading. Is there any sort of questions you have? Won't be able to necessarily answer anything directly. No. It's something that you just need to sit with, I think. See how the cards' message pertains to you. And oftentimes we don't realize that something that the cards predicted happens until after it happens. It's very interesting how that works out. Now, if you want, I can write up a little summary for you. Okay? That way you don't have to try to remember what it is that I said off the top of your head. There we are. What's today? There we are. And who am I making this out to? Okay. Very good. So, we have our heart of the matter. And this is our Three of Cups. The opposing factor. This is our Two of Cups. Root cause. King of Cups. Known influence. Ten of Cups. Past influences. Hanged Man. New circumstances. Justice. Self. Strength. Surrounding environment. Hermit. Guidance. Two of Wands. Outcome. Five of Swords. And I'll write the repeated associations as well, since you won't have the cards on hand. The number 2. Cups. The ocean. Description. Excellent. So then this is for you. Here we are. Very good. Right, and I think that'll do it for us. Anything else I can do for you? Not so much random person who has to do my tarot. Alright. Well, I hope that this tarot reading was insightful. I'm quite pleased that I was able to take advantage of the weather and of the beautiful time that we had together, right? I hope that from here on you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night.